All right, I'm here with my guy, Dr. Sean Dill. We're at the Abundance and Overflow Conference in Nashville, Tennessee. Dr. Sean, welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here. Super excited. New venue for this time.
New venue.
Last time
yeah.
it was virtual.
Last time it was virtual, and you do these conferences all the time. Although this is like one of the last ones, there's going to be a little bit change in the profile. But I've been following you for years now, and I came here strictly for this conference specifically. Was how to manifest abundance, more wealth, abundance, gratitude. And so there's a lot of people in the entrepreneurial world that are feeling maybe stuck, or especially in this climate that we're in right now, right? Where, let's just say there's lack, inflation, all these things are happening. Businesses are caving. What do you say to these people? How can they find some more abundance and overflow in their life? What do they need to do?
Well, it all starts with your mindset. And when we talk about manifestation, so I'm not talking about like total woo-woo crazy, like if I think about it long enough, I can turn your shirt red. Like that's not what we're talking about. But we do understand that the world and our reality is a reflection of the way that we think. Our thoughts shape how we view the world. I mean, literally in today's world, that's why you can hear a speech, a political speech, and one person could be like, that was the greatest thing that ever happened. And another person saw the same speech and was like, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And it really has to do with their mindset, their thoughts that they had going into that and how they perceived a particular incident. So when you say, well, in a difficult economic climate, that is the same. I mean, listen, the facts exist. What is the interest rate? What is inflation? What's going on? But your economy, your personal economy, does not have to be the world's economy. And so many people cannot make that distinction. So the way that you think, that's one. Like, hey, wait a minute, can I begin to think in a way that says the world's economy is not my economy, it's just the world's economy. It's the United States' economy. It's Venezuela's economy. What does it have to do with me? And so if I can begin to understand that, I can begin to shift my reality. I can begin to take advantage of tools and create my own abundance.
Yeah. What you're talking about is, I love that you said that. You're creating when I said, oh, it's a bad economy, like that's just an idea. It's a paradigm. You can choose to live in that paradigm or not, or you can just create your own economy. It could be like, great, this is a tragedy. There's always somebody that's winning. When there's peril, there's prosperity, as they say. And there's always someone winning, so how can I win? That's just the reframe, right?
Yes, but also too, on an individual level, there are people, you've been in a situation, maybe even here, where the room is super cold. So someone's like, hey man, the room is super cold. There's always somebody who's like, no, it's not, I'm hot. Always.
Yeah.
How can that be? Well, that's your personal environment. That's what your personal experience is. That is not to argue that the room temperature was set to 68. That's a fact. But your personal experience does not have to be that you're cold, right? And so the world's economy, listen, interest rates are what they are. Inflation is what it is. But that doesn't mean that your experience is, oh, my business is a disaster or my personal finances are a disaster. That's what's happening there. That's like the overall environment. Things are what they are. But my personal environment is dictated by me personally, just like your temperature. That's you. I can't do anything. I can't be like, hey, just be hotter or be colder. You have the ultimate control over that.
Yeah, love that. By the way, we just jumped into things, and I kind of almost made this assumption that people know you, and you're one of the most.
They probably do.
They probably do.
No,
but you're also one of the most successful entrepreneurs I know. You former chiropractor. I mean, you still are. You don't just like lose that. But I think of you. I don't even think of you as a chiropractor anymore because you've done so much since then, right? So you've got multiple businesses, coaching. You're part of a franchise of an IV company. I mean, there's just so much deal flow that you're doing, and you're giving back. You're helping other entrepreneurs. So people that don't know, I know this all about you, but if people that don't know you and they're catching up this is the first time they're seeing you, kind of tell people what you do, and then talk about some of the ways they can get to know you through Book Yourself Solid, which is helping entrepreneurs that don't know they want to be an entrepreneur. They want to get started. Or maybe they're a business service owner and they just want to get started. But they I know there's more calling me, but I don't know the steps, because I hear that all the time. And I always refer people to you. I'm like, go to this guy. He's got the system down. So that's how I think of you. But if people don't know, how would you kind of tell them about yourself?
Well, the bottom line is that we help service-based entrepreneurs reach more people, make an even bigger impact, and create the lifestyle that they deserve. We provide a service, we're impacting and changing the world, and we deserve to be paid and live a great life because of the impact that we make on the world. The way that we do that is through various entities. I always like to tell people that what I stand for, I, Sean Dill, stand for a world where health and success are known as fundamental truths rather than fundamental pursuits. And what I mean by that, and I know you share these same values, is that on the health side, that we were born fundamentally healthy, that we were meant to be healthy. And then what happens is along the way, we do a lot of things to interfere with that, derail that, and that's what causes all of the sickness in the world.
Yep.
But at the same time, I believe that we were born fundamentally successful, that we were meant to be successful individuals and make huge impact, whether that's in relationships, finances, in all areas of our life, but then we do dumb things that then derail that. We make bad choices. So just the same way that somebody wouldn't smoke 2 packs a day and wonder why they were sick, why would we not also then have terrible thinking, a crappy attitude, not express gratitude, not understand collaboration, and then complain about our business, right? It's the same thing. These are things that interfere. And so what I see myself as is a tool that helps people to remove the interference between where they are now and who they were actually meant to be.
Yeah. Yeah, so good. I know what you mean, and it sounds so easier than what the actuality is. But also, I also know what you do in the implementation and the pillars and the steps and how to get people from zero. I don't have an idea. I don't know what my business is. I don't know what my avatar is, to then getting them to making money. You have a great system and framework through Book Yourself Solid. And then one of the memberships I'm in is the Black Diamond Club. Tell people about that if they're a little unsure. And that's why I'm here too, is celebrating the Black Diamond Club and all the people in it.
Book Yourself Solid is our sort of gateway or entry point. Basically, I see that as what you were talking about. I have a great idea. I have a business. Basically the plane is still parked at the gate, so we've got to push back, taxi, and get you going down the runway. Black Diamond Club, you're in the air, right? So we get enough velocity, we get you off in the air, and now we start to create a whole host of other problems. Now we have tax issues, we've got investment issues, we've got hiring. Should I bring on more people? Should I have more locations? That's all Black Diamond Club. And again, all of that inside of the service-based realm. So anybody that's providing a service, we don't deal in the creation of or the fabrication or manufacture of products. Everything is service-based in our world.
Me also, like a coach, it's not just brick and mortar, because I was thinking service. It's not just brick and mortar. Even coaches like me benefit from this.
Yeah, we're super excited with the book, Book Yourself Solid. We're launching iterations of the book for certain professions. So the first book is Book Yourself Solid for chiropractors, because as you mentioned, I'm a chiropractor. The second book is Book Yourself Solid for coaches and consultants. That book's actually available for pre-order right now on Barnes & Noble and on Amazon. So yeah, for coaches, consultants, we're teaching that concept as well through Book Yourself Solid.
Yeah, love that. Okay, cool. I wanted to ask you, right, we don't have Lacey here, Lacey Book, your wife. You guys, you are in tandem. You are a business power couple. And I always think, for years, I would always my wife would say, Joel, one day maybe we'll have a business together. And I used to say, no, there's no way. I'm like, we're so opposite. Now, coming full circle, like, I'm so infatuated with my wife, and we actually are the best we've ever been. And now we actually start to work together and collaborate. But I don't think that's the case for most people. So I think there's something special that you guys have created. I'm curious, how, looking back now, I'm sure you can actually look back. Do you ever look back and say, man, look at us, how great this is. We get to work together every day. There's some couples, right now the divorce rate is 43% for first-time marriages. Second and third is 60 to 70%. You're an anomaly, and I love that, because it's like David Goggins says, be uncommon amongst uncommon men. But point being, you're an anomaly, whether we like it or not. The statistics show. How have you been able to maintain that, and not only do that, but you guys work together and create and get to do business on a regular basis? What's the foundation?
First of all, for just the statistical anomaly, Lacey and I are both divorced. And so this is our second marriage for both of us. But I guess the statistical likelihood is higher than for divorce after that. I think you pay the dummy tax because you learn a lot about mistakes that you make when you're younger. And with Lacey, for me, I literally feel like I have found my best friend. And I think when you're a kid and you have your best friend, your parents literally have to like pull you away, like, Joel, you got to come in. Like, no, we're gonna play forever, right? One of the greatest, I guess, testaments that I received actually was just last week. Lacey and I were on a flight from Charlotte to Los Angeles, and Lacey tapped me and she's like, I think that's Tim Story sitting 2 rows ahead of us. I was like, I don't know, I could just see the back of his head. Well, Charlotte to Los Angeles, a long flight. During the flight, Tim had gotten up and I was like, oh, hey, Tim. So he had come back and he had talked to us and he said, what are we going to LA for? And we told him, and he was like, well, maybe we could meet up. We were like, yeah, so the flight lands in LA and everybody goes their own way. Lacey and I were standing at baggage claim, literally just waiting for our bags. And then Tim came up to us and said, oh, hey, I can't wait to connect. And then he walked away. Well, we saw Tim like 3 days later and he said, I want you to know something. I want you to know that that day, I had you on my mind and I was reflecting on you. And he said, you know what? You do not know this, but I was watching you from afar. Because many sort of celebrity, I'm not saying we're celebrity, Tim's world, celebrity couples. In Tim's world, celebrity couples, he said, I know many celebrity couples that look like couples on the media, but that really actually hate each other. And he said, you know what struck me? He says, I was just absolutely struck by the fact that I'm watching you from afar and you guys were laughing, having a good time, joking with each other. And he said, and I was like, well, they actually really do like each other. And I think that's the thing. Listen, if you are with someone that you truly love, you enjoy spending time with, they're your best friend. I mean, of course, it wouldn't matter, like, whoever it is, I want to be around. I guess like my best friend personal-wise, David Meltzer. So people are like, you're always with David. Yeah, because, not because of business, but because we laugh and find the same things funny and we spend time together. Well, Lacey's my best friend. So I get to spend time with her all the time. I would actually hate it if I had to wake up in the morning and go somewhere and leave her behind. And then come back and be like, hey, guess what happened today? Like, that's not very fun. That's the part that separation anxiety. That part's not the best. I love that we get to do all of these things together.
Okay, but how? Okay, but now I want to know just a little bit more because, again, I think a lot of people, at least in my experience, right? There's this idea of like, I want to find my soulmate, and actually, for me personally, I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there's so many people we can find, but what I've learned is that marriage is a skill, and fatherhood is a skill. And so just like anything, you got to work at it. And I don't think, that's why I think the numbers are high for 60 to 70% for next marriage.
People want to work.
They don't put in the work for the first one. They blame the other person, and then they just get into multiple marriages, always blaming the other person, saying, oh, well, I just haven't found my soulmate. Now, you have obviously this great relationship where you're like, this is just too easy. It's like, almost sounds like too easy. Like you literally found your soulmate. But I feel like that's pretty rare. I think there have to be dynamics or things that you're doing, skills, strategies, things that you do, both of you collectively together, that make communication, that make spending time with each other so harmonious. Is there?
100%.
Do you have like a ritual, or is there anything that you guys have done that you found like this is what, when you kind of reverse engineer it, wow, this is like, these are the habits and principles that we do, and there's no wonder that we're successful at our marriage.
Yeah, the one thing that I would say, I mean, there's always obviously the givens, communication, as you mentioned. I'll say this as an exercise, and listen, when you're saying that, I'm like, that's interesting, and especially maybe in your work, to contemplate. Maybe you could put this in the dating phase. Let's put this in your show notes. I'll give you a link to a guide that we have called the 6 P's of Goal Setting. And on the surface, it seems
This is in your book, by the way, None of Your
Business.
Business.
Yes. Yeah. But this also looks like, on the surface, like a very business thing, but it's a relationship thing. And the whole thing about it is each person in the relationship does the 6 P's of goal setting separately. So I sit down, I do mine, Lacey does hers. We have zero communication about it. We just do our work on the 6 P's. We fill out the guide. Then we come together and we swap. And I guess this is the thing is, when we swap, the goal here is for me to look at everything that she's written down, and for her to look at everything that I've written down, and for us to mutually agree that we're going to do both things. And so I guess if I were to look at that and I'd be like, I can't get behind this one, that's kind of a deal breaker for the relationship. Because the idea of the relationship is that because we're together, we are able to accomplish more. So whatever you want to get done, whatever I want to get done, it all gets done because we're together. But what most couples end up doing, which I think is the mistake, is compromise. Like, I see you want this, you want to have a truck, I want to have a convertible. So let's do this. I'm going to get a convertible, but you can have a pool. Well, that's compromise. That's negotiation. So now, anytime that we get in the convertible, you're resentful. You're like,
this sounds like my mom and dad,
I
so
should have gotten
I'm
a
laughing
truck,
about that. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And there's no way around it. I can't say to you, you have nothing to be resentful. You have a pool. Because listen,
Yes.
I gave up something for the pool. So whenever, we got to clean the pool or pay extra money for the pool, I'm resentful. And I think that when the resentfulness stacks up enough, then eventually we fracture and break the relationship. Lacey and I had a realization that we wanted to not be, and this is something that gets preached a lot in relationships, two halves that come together to become one. I was like, well, that's silly because now I became half a person.
Yeah.
It's two full people who came together to do the work of four, to be able to make the impact of 10, to be able to amplify our powers and our impact in the world because we're together. So it's not a give. Everybody says, oh, it's a give and take. No, it's a give and give. And together, look at all of that we're able to give together. We're able to accomplish everything that we wanted to because we're together. So for me, that's what I would say is our secret.
I love that. There's no compromise. In your guys' relationship, there's no compromise. It's just a give and give. It's like there's no like, oh, I have to do this for her. Like if you're doing it because you want to do it, and man, I'm just giving all, and I'm so happy that I get to give to her,
Sure.
and she does the same to you. So everyone is full. Everyone's always full.
And I can't
feeling
understand
great.
her desires. There's a lot of, she's in the relationship, the car person. She's got some super cool cars. I could care less, but I can't understand that, but I'm happy. And I always ask her, like, do you love that car? Yes. Oh, that makes me happy. I'm glad you love that car. And she asked me, don't you love it too? And I'm like, it's okay. I mean, it's cool. I mean, you got a cool car. But I have things that she's probably
Like the golf clubs or something,
the golf
maybe,
clubs
yeah.
and the golf club memberships.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's all of that where you find joy in seeing your partner have joy. Whatever she wants, I feel obviously that she deserves, and I feel like it's also my lot in life, my charge as her partner to help her to get it faster. That is the one thing though. A lot of people say, oh no, you do compromise, because yes, we cannot have everything we want right now. So time. So maybe we would say like, hey, you want to have a $150 million yacht? We had a speaker talking about a yacht, and she's like, I really wish I could have a yacht. Like, okay, great, but we would have to get to that point. But here's what I do know. If we can get to the point, I do know that you want the yacht, and when we get to the point, we were just talking about this in the session, when we get to that point, we will get that yacht. Because that's what you want.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if I think it's smart, I want it. That's what you want to get done. So we are going to come together and we're going to get that done.
Yeah, love that. Talk to me about exciting projects that you have coming up, and just anything you want to share. Or you got, I mean, who knows, man? I don't know. A new book, a new group membership, what's new and exciting. There's a lot of things coming up.
Yeah, we have the book release of Book Yourself Solid. So, Book Yourself Solid for coaches and consultants. Jump on that. Our podcast, which is called None of Your Business, has been super taking off, and we're currently working with David Meltzer on a podcast studio in the Palazzo. Currently, we film at SoFi Stadium, so we'll be adding the Palazzo. We have a lot of really amazing guests that come on there. And just expanding our reach, really trying to get outside, because I'm a chiropractor, kind of pigeonholed there in that area, and really beginning to make a bigger impact outside of chiropractic, the dentistry space, the real estate space, and helping people and watching them grow. It's super exciting for me.
Yeah. One thing, I know we have to wrap things up because you got to get back and speak, but one thing I wanted to highlight that I've noticed about you is there's a famous quote that I love from Jocko Willink, and I told you this last time I saw you, is that there's no bad teams, there's just bad leaders. You're a phenomenal leader, and I'll tell you why, because your team is amazing, and that's how I know you're a phenomenal leader. One of the things you also told me in our podcast a year ago is you said, Joel, we are entering the we, right? The we pendulum. There's a pendulum. We see this.
Leaving the we.
Oh, we're leaving the we.
The we.
Leaving the we.
Left the we in 2023.
Okay.
Moving towards the me.
We're moving towards the me. Now, here's the interesting thing. We have things like school. Alex Hormozy is all about this. All the entrepreneurs know about this. This is all about building community, building tribe. We're in a dopamine-rich society right now. People are disconnected, even though we're the most connected in the world, right? So, Sean Nostradamus, what are you seeing coming in the future? If entrepreneurs are listening right now and they're watching this, what are you seeing as we start to go into 24, 2025? What can we expect? What kind of community, what do you see the trends happening in the entrepreneurial world that people need to be aware of?
Well, there's a lot of stuff that I feel is going on in the political scene, and probably, maybe to some degree, sort of a new awareness and an awakening on the political side of things. As far as, it's interesting because 2023 was the peak of the we, so that means 2024 mirrors 2022, 2025 mirrors 2021, so it's not that radically different, right? So
Yeah.
it's not like it just like swings. We'll say this, in the school phenomenon, and Alex and Layla are absolute geniuses and totally brilliant business people, but a lot of the school phenomenon is driven slightly by a me society. The reason why is because it's driven by the leaders who are competing on a leaderboard to be able to go out and meet Alex and Layla in a mastermind.
That's right.
So what they do is they're leveraging the me in order to drive the we, which is fascinating, right? So yes, the end product is a we, but it's being driven by individuals who are doing it for their stature and their position on the board in order to accomplish something.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I think that's a great microcosm of what we will begin to see. People slowly over the next 20 years begin to, through this awakening, begin to realize, okay, I need to look out for me, the economy, things like that. Like, it can't be just like, hey, I hope we all make it. Eventually, these things force you to start thinking, hey, I've got to make it. And it's not right or wrong. It's just different choices. The last peak of the me society was 1983. A lot of us are old enough to remember that. Michael Jackson, Madonna, stand out, look different, be different. It's a very individualized society. We are just now beginning that 40-year run of moving back to that.
Very cool. Love that. Thank you. Last but not least, man, tell people where they can connect with you, learn more about you, all the things that you're doing with Book Yourself Solid, the Black Diamond Club, just you and Lacey in general. If they want to learn more about what you guys are up to, where can they follow you? And
pretty much all the socials at Black Diamond Club or at Book Yourself Solid, and for me personally, at Dr. Sean Dill.
Amazing. Dr. Sean Dill, thanks for being on the show, brother. Appreciate
Thank you so
man.
much. Appreciate you.